It was a lot of people, and I said this at Comic-Con when I went this year, it was a lot of people coming up to me and saying, basically, I really hope your show doesn't suck. Because I really want to like it. And then we came to Fan Expo, and I actually got a chance last year. How many people were here when we screened the pilot last year? Yeah. So I'm sitting in a room doing interviews, and they tell me, they're like, hey, we're screening the pilot and it's going great. What the hell am I doing here? And I went in, I snuck in the back of the room, and that I think was, that might have been the most rewarding experience from the first season, because everyone was laughing when they were supposed to laugh and cheering when they were supposed to cheer, and that was really cool. But when we went to WonderCon, which I think was maybe after 15 or 16 episodes, it all of a sudden was very different, and a lot more gratitude from everybody. And then this year, Comic-Con, this experience, it's really, it's a lot of what we just had here, and it's really something else. It's really nice.
So I want to ask everybody out there, what did everybody think of season 1? Because that was pretty explosive, and seeing that Tommy was just, it really broke my heart. And I want to know, how does that move into how that's going to affect Oliver in season 2?
We pick up season 2 5 months after the events of season 1, and there has been a very big transition in the city. You know, the Glades wasn't entirely destroyed, but the fallout from what happened there is, it's basically, Starling City is almost in a police state. And everyone, and I think this is a cool thing for the second season, all of the characters are in a very different spot. Oliver is not in Starling City. Detective Lance has a different job. Laurel has a different job. Thea has a different job. Moira's in prison. And Felicity's a lot sexier. No, really. I mean, I'm looking at her wardrobe this year, and I went, they sexified your wardrobe, didn't they? She said, yes, they did.
Well, I gotta ask you something from a personal place. If anyone saw our panel at Fan Expo last year with John Barrowman,
there we go.
he's a very touchy-feely kind of guy. So, what's it like working with him? Does he manage to keep his hands to himself?
All right, so I had never worked with John before, and we met in passing, but the first few times that he was on the show, and forgive me, I now understand the sort of depth of his fandom and the breadth of his work in this genre, but I didn't really know John that well, and he's a very flamboyant character sometimes, and we're shooting this very serious scene from, I believe it was episode 7, and it ended up getting cut. And it was just John and I running into each other, and it was the episode that we find out that he's Tommy's father. So we have this scene, and he walks away from me, and I'm about to start talking to Detective Lance and Hilton, and just before John goes around the corner, he does this really flamboyant just for me, just for my benefit. And I'm trying to talk to Paul Blackthorne, who's a super serious actor, and I start cracking up. And he looks at me and goes, Amell, what the hell are you doing? And I didn't have the heart to blame John. But working with John is amazing, and I hope, and I'm sure you guys hope, that he comes back for season 2 at some point.
It feels like every time I'm on Google, there's always new updates about new DC characters. Is DC taking over season 2?
Well, DC is a lot like the fans last year at Comic-Con and Fan Expo. They looked at our show and said, hey, you're doing the Green Arrow, and we really hope it doesn't suck. And we've had a first year, so I almost feel like DC gave us a little bit of leeway this year, or last year, and this year it's like they've handed us the car keys. It's just DC characters everywhere. And I mean, you know, we have, and lesser known ones too. We have Summer Glau is playing Isabel Rochev. We have Kevin Alejandro from True Blood, who's playing Sebastian Blood, Brother Bud. We have Michael Jai White, who is playing Bronze Tiger, which is really cool. I get to fight Spawn. That was pretty awesome. And we have actor to be determined playing Barry Allen, The Flash.
I'm always so fascinated by Black Canary. Is there something you can tell us about your love interest?
We see Black Canary almost immediately this season. Who Black Canary is and what she's doing in Starling City is something that I can't explain though. And don't even ask, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay,
Alright, here's another question you might not be able to answer too much, but let me put it to you this way. There's been a lot of talk online with the success of Arrow and with the anticipation of a Justice League film that they might actually maybe merge the storyline much in the same way that the Marvel Universe has got this, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. New series that also ties into their cinematic franchise. So would you be up for the role if offered an opportunity to take Oliver Queen to the big screen?
Well, yeah. I think that in the pantheon of DC characters, and I'm not afraid to say it probably goes in some order, Batman and Superman, and then I think the next level down is the Flash, right? I mean, the Flash is one of the biggest DC characters out there, so if we are able to introduce the Flash into our show, and then spin the Flash off into his own show, then I think that it would make a ton of sense. Only if everybody would like to make a ton of money to take the properties that you have on television and to bring them onto the big screen. I will tell you this. I know that when I found out about Barry Allen appearing on the show, one of the executive producers told me, and for Barry Allen to appear on the show, we had to get approval all the way up to Christopher Nolan. So that's, because he's Christopher Nolan, and he's the czar of all things Warner Brothers and DC, and he likes the show and approved of Barry Allen appearing, so I would say that that's a very good sign.
All right. That's a great answer. That's one of the most revealing answers I've had from an actor all week long. Thank you, man.
I don't know any better.
All right. Can I ask one other hypothetical question based on some rumors and discussion online? There's always been talk of adapting 50 Shades of Grey for the big screen. So, your name's been tossed around there. Is that do you know anything about the novel, if you can call it a novel?
I'm pretty sure you're one of the favorite choices.
I had a meeting with the company that is producing that film to discuss a variety of things, including 50 Shades of Grey, but only as a brief part of the discussion. And this was before I had read the book. I was at the Kentucky Derby this year. I was coming home from the airport in Kentucky. I was sitting in the middle seat on a flight, and if you've ever been to the Kentucky Derby, you would know that I was just terribly hungover. And I had no battery left on my phone or my computer, and I just picked up 50 Shades of Grey, and I burnt through it on the trip home. It was actually kind of embarrassing to read in the middle seat of the plane. But I don't foresee myself being involved in that project. Is there a villain in the 50 Shades of Grey books? Did someone kill Christian Grey eventually? Play that character.
Hero. If you did have the opportunity to play a villain, who would you like to play?
Well, General Zod. That's been taken. You know what? I would like to play the Riddler.
See? I told you.
That's one of those things that you have to put out there into the universe and hope that it eventually comes back to you.
Do you think Jim Carrey did an okay job?
Sure. You know what? I think right now, if they were to do a new Batman film and they were to make, and it was in the sort of the world in which Christopher Nolan's Batman exists, and they did a spin on the Riddler in that take, I think Jim Carrey could kill that. But I'm also the same guy, and I'm weird this way. I think Jim Carrey should have won Best Actor for playing the Grinch. Because I always think of acting roles, and I think of degree of difficulty. And there wasn't one thing about Jim Carrey that he didn't change, whether it's how he walks, how he talks, how he looks at people. I mean, that to me is the highest level of an acting performance. So, did he do a good job in Batman Forever? But it was a different type of movie. It was Joel Schumacher's Batman, and in that universe, he did a spectacular job.
Well, while we were talking about Batman, I heard a couple of people say Ben Affleck. So what?
Boy, did that catch everybody by surprise?
Yeah. I actually thought it was a joke at first. I wasn't sure. So what's your take on that?
I think Ben Affleck has done really good work. His last 3 directing efforts, Gone Baby Gone, Argo, and The Town. I love The Town. The Town's a fantastic movie. And, I mean, Warner Brothers doesn't just hand out these parts willy-nilly. You know, they don't just say, here, hey, Ben, want to play Batman? Like, I'm sure that there was a little bit more of a process to the whole thing, and I know this because I had to go through the casting process, and I'm sure for someone with Ben Affleck's stature is a little bit different, but I don't know if there's ever been anyone picked to play a part coming off of the heels of someone so iconic like Christian Bale playing it, because I mean I don't know, I think that the Christopher Nolan trilogy for Batman is probably the greatest superhero trilogy in the history of film. I don't know if you could have picked anyone that was going to be met with anything but a certain level of trepidation, but I will reserve judgment until Mr. Affleck gives it a good, honest try. You guys are going to get me in trouble. Well, oh man, that's a good question. I think that there's a CW rule against having a goatee. I'm pushing it as far as I can push it, having facial hair.
We are going to go to the crowd for questions in just a bit, but we had a couple more that we wanted to ask. I wanted to know, playing this incredibly confident character, have you personally changed, in your life in the past year plus, bringing life to this role, and always on screen having this presence? I mean, obviously you aren't a superhero in real life, but you do a great job playing one on TV. So, does that affect you as a person in your personal life?
And my life has changed a lot only because I used to. When I was an actor, both in Toronto and in Los Angeles, I used to measure my success for that year based on how many days I worked. And I set a goal for myself in 2011 of working 100 days, and I got to like 90-something. And now I measure my years in the amounts of days off that I have. Because we shoot Arrow for 9+ months a year. It's a really difficult, arduous schedule. It's not actually work, so I don't think of it that way, but it's a lot of hours that we have to put in. And I would say that I have become a bit more direct than I used to be. I like to get things done. I'm a very bottom line person, and yeah, that's changed. But I still try to be the same normal guy. Try.
So I just want to know, with the way that you have to work out and even your diet to keep this image, do you have a cheat day? And what would you eat on your cheat day?
What happened last year is I had a very specific diet for the pilot, but the pilot is not the series. The pilot is something that I had a month to prepare for, and we get 17 days to shoot it, and like $10 million, as opposed to we have 8 days to shoot episodes of the series. And we could definitely use 17 because every single episode that we have now is the size of the pilot in roughly half the time. So last year I had a very strict diet that I carried over from the pilot, and what it started leading to binge days. Right? I was just like, this is awful, I can't do this anymore. So I've tried to just have a much more balanced diet this year. so that I don't turn into an insane person. So, but you know, I had some ice cream last night. It was good.
What flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Yes.
Baskin Robbins mint chocolate chip is the greatest ice cream ever invented. No arguments.
Oh, do we want to go to the floor for some questions?
Let's do that.
If you got one, just raise your hand and then shout it out. I see a red baseball cap right there.
I really like the first season, but the finale really raised the bar in terms of its production value, and like my mom cried twice watching the last season. How did the second season pick up from that?
Did everyone hear that?
Yeah, so basically the first season we really raised the bar with the 23rd episode in terms of production value and scale, and we are not afraid of that. That episode didn't cost any more money than, episode 23 didn't cost any more than episode 1 of this year cost, and we're making a really big statement in what was supposed to be our first 4 episodes, but I've read the script for 5 and 6, and we are not taking our foot off the gas at all. So, and we've used what happened in the finale last year to really give a different impetus to this season. Last year, when Oliver was doing what he was doing, he was almost burdened by this. He's trying to avenge his father, and if he decides to get back into it, and if you've seen a preview, he gets back into it really quickly. That's not, obviously I'm going to be out there as Arrow, but he's doing it for a different reason, and it actually brings a little bit more happiness to him, which has been very nice for me to play.
Yeah. I heard he's a season regular now.
Manu is, yeah. Manu came on as a series regular this year. Sorry, say again? You definitely see him in flashbacks, and no comment.
Yeah. Black is you right now.
First of all, I just wanted to say it was an absolute joy meeting you yesterday. You are so friendly to your fans. It's wonderful to see an actor so down to earth and gives so much back to his fans when they come up for an autograph, and I really appreciate it. Maybe my baby, my daughter say, back to what you were saying about Felicity and Wardrobe.
Did I say that into the microphone? Ah, damn it.
Is it possible that they might be having some sort of get-together?
What, you mean like a sleepover? Technically, that is what you mean, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I may not be canon, but I just think that the chemistry between Oliver and Felicity is just awful.
Thank you. You know what? There's always hope, because I think there's a scene, and I'm always interested in how you can sort of get an idea of what the writers and the producers are thinking based on how they cut together the show, because they can pick, they can frame it towards what they're going towards, and there's definitely a shot in a cut of an episode, or just sort of watching how a scene was put together, where I definitely stare longingly at Felicity for about 4 seconds longer than I would have last year. And I definitely think it's a possibility. And I can tell you that on the Oliver Laurel front, everything that has happened at the end of last season, they're on a bit of a break. They're on a bit of a break at the moment. Sure. I will, of course. Thank you very much.
There's
see you right there.
I was wondering, obviously you know a bit about Free Arrow. What are you hoping to have in season 2 or for you guys to go on? What do you want out of the show?
Well, last year, again, and I think one of the reasons why people really took an interest in Felicity was because she brought out a lighter side of Oliver. And and again, not doing what I'm doing because I'm trying to cross names off of a list, but rather because I'm trying to honor somebody's memory, and I'm doing it for much more virtuous reasons. I'm hoping to see a little bit more humor, and a little bit more heroism. You know, a little bit more of trying to be a hero, as opposed to just a vigilante.
This gentleman, you had his hand up. Yeah.
I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan, and I wish I came last year, but I did. But my question is, since we all know the person who's being in the movie, have you thought of being in it or being a cameo in it?
I mean, being in it would be fantastic. I don't know when they're going to do it, but you know, we'll take things as they come. One thing that it's a personal thing for me as an actor. I tend to get annoyed with other actors when all they talk about is what they're going to do while they're on hiatus. You know, so now a Justice League movie is a little bit different because it's the same character and it's a natural extension. But my first priority and my first responsibility is to the show, because we have to do 23 episodes a year and they all have to be awesome. So I'm going to keep my focus there, and then whatever comes up, comes up.
So I just wanted to start off with saying I'm saying a huge Arrow fan. Like when Smallville ended, it was like the worst day of my life.
I know. So
I
sad.
called the American agency because I was past like next to the colors of the sky. I thought they were perfect, but I started broken when it came to saying that's like anything wrong draft. So it freaked me out. But that leads me to my question: how do you deal with having two completely different fandoms join together to compare? People who are like me, who love the comic books, love the character, love that, and then you also have the teenage girls saying, "I want to see Steven shirtless."
Did everyone hear that?
Yeah,
No. Do you like being a hero or heartthrob better?
I'm gonna go here on that one. No, you know what? Because listen, as awesome as it is to have like teenage girls as fans, okay? Teenage girls are fickle. Okay? And long after they are gone, or even if they remain, the comic book fans will still be there. And you guys are a tough crowd to win over, right? I mean, when Arrow was announced, it wasn't Stephen Amell was playing Arrow, it was Justin Hartley is not playing Arrow. So I understand that, but once everyone welcomed me and you feel like you're part of the family, and you guys become very protective, and I'll let you guys have my back.
Did you have a sense of pressure, though, taking on such an iconic character?
No, David Nutter directed our pilot and is actually going to direct another episode this year. He directed the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones too. But he's coming back this year. I can't say which episode, but he's coming back. And after my first audition, before I had auditioned for the network or the studio, he sat me down and he said, Stephen, I cast Tom Welling, I cast Kristen Crook, I cast Jessica Alba, I found Jared and Jensen. They were my people. You're my guy for this. We're gonna get this done. You don't worry about a thing. I'll take care of you. And I said, Mr. Nutter, whatever you say. So I wasn't nervous at all.
On the front of the whole heartthrob thing, do you ever find people, feel a little entitled? Do people come up to you and just say, just show me the abs. Can I just see the abs?
John Barrowman actually explained to me while he was holding my abs that there is very much a difference between the first season and the second season. It's sort of in the first season, it's like people are inviting you into their homes to watch you on TV, and then in the second season they expect you to be there. Right. And I've noticed that. It's nice. It's nice.
Waving, yeah.
Awesome. I want to say congratulations. The show's awesome. Thank you. quick question. So I heard you in an interview when the show first came out, and you said, let's see Batman do that. So who would win, you or Ben, in a pull-up contest?
I've got everybody in a pull-up contest. And that wasn't me that said that, that was David Nutter. He said it, yeah. He's like, I saw Steven do the salmon ladder, and I was like, Batman can't do that. And he probably could. Yeah.
Eat in Toronto when you're actually in town.
Where do I like to eat?
Yeah.
I like Taroni.
Really? Yeah.
Taroni? Yeah. The original one's on Queen West, right? Yeah, I like that one. And then I used to go to, I used to live in the Yonge and St. Clair area, so I used to go to the one before it was now the gigantic one. Yeah. Yes. Taroni's good. You're welcome.
Just to repeat that for everyone, he was asking about the character parallels from the Oliver 5 years ago and the present day, and how you managed to, bring both to life in such a great way.
That might be my favorite part of the show, actually, because especially last year, less so this year. This year I get to inject a little bit more charisma into Oliver in the present day, but when I'm in the Arrow costume, I'm constantly thinking about how am I standing? What's the timbre of my voice? Am I making a fist? I don't. There was I never want to be slouching, and then when I play Oliver on the island, I get to get rid of all that stuff. I get to slouch, and I put my voice up a little bit, and I get to be more of a kid, and the island stuff this year. Just as stuff is starting to get a little bit better for Oliver in Starling City in the present day, everything just goes to crap on the island. It's awesome. No, it is amazing. But that to me, and I was am a huge fan of Lost. So I'm a huge idea of the storytelling technique where at the end of 5 years that I get off the island. But how do I get there? How does all of this happen? And I think we're doing a really cool job of exploring that this year.
It better not end like Lost.
No comment. I like all endings, though. If you pick an ending that most people don't like everyone hated the last episode of Seinfeld. I love the last episode of Seinfeld. And I love the last episode of Lost. Cried a bunch. Yeah. I've never seen 1 minute of Smallville.
I want to merge with this.
I wasn't doing that for applause. You know what? I did take inspiration from people, but it purposely was not Justin in that incarnation of the character. There were a couple of different characters that I watched. One of, but not limited to, Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad, who's the coolest dude ever, by the way. And super nice guy, and nothing like his character, but there was something about Gus Fring that was slightly homicidal, but very, very, very